Okay, so a whistle-stop tour of Darktrace in 5 minutes. For those of you that don't know Darktrace, we are a global artificial intelligence company for cybersecurity. We're no ordinary company. We're only 5 years old, but have grown, I think it's fair to say, pretty rapidly. We will be probably hitting about 1,000 employee headcount by the end of the year. So incredibly fast growth and very well recognized now in the cybersecurity industry. But founded here in the UK, founded in Cambridge. It was actually mathematicians, machine learning specialists from Cambridge that founded the company in 2013. And we're working with organizations across the globe, across 100 countries. We're deployed in 7,000 different networks. But also importantly, across all industry verticals. About 25% of our customers are financial services companies, but the rest are very evenly split between all different industries. We scale up as well as down. Big global multinationals, but also small companies we can actually deploy to those too. Our voice is very established in the community, and also we are a regular commentator on the media debate that is current and ongoing around cybersecurity. So we're also very keen to make sure that we are part of that conversation around cybersecurity and the discussions on that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the traditional way of doing security and the problems with that. So the legacy approach of doing security is all around building a wall around your network, primarily. That's been a lot of the effort in the past of decades, has been strengthening a wall that keeps your critical assets safe and keeps the bad guys out. But of course, that approach relies on defining to an extent who are the bad guys and understanding what is malicious, what is not allowed in. And that is an approach that is increasingly flawed and difficult to implement because, firstly, that wall around our networks has fallen down, essentially. We have cloud computing, we have remote working, we have very complex networks, and there's lots of inroads to it. So it's very hard to lock every window and every door. And secondly, the reality today is that if a sophisticated adversary wants to get into your enterprise network, they're going to find a way to do it. And that is the reality that we all face now, and is recognized that you have to assume that you're going to have compromise. Not to mention, of course, not everyone's external. Some of them are threats that are going to actually start from inside a threat. So what happens when this approach doesn't work? Well, we at Darktrace wanted to address this challenge with machine learning and artificial intelligence. And the model that we took was not relying on someone else's definition of bad, of malicious, but instead to look at technology and work out how we could understand on the fly what is abnormal. And we actually modeled our approach on the human immune system. So if you think about how the human body protects itself, we have skin. Of course, it's a physical protective barrier, but our bodies don't stop there. We all rely on an immune system as an internal defense system. Because the reality is stuff gets in. It's a porous barrier. And when I left to go to this conference, I don't know what bacterial virus I might encounter on the tube or meeting someone at the conference. I don't get a memo on that. So my immune system is able to deal with that, luckily. It's pretty good. Some of you may have colds. Occasionally, things will go wrong. But it's a pretty good advanced system. It's one of the most advanced systems in the biological world. And it was this idea of understanding and learning what is normal, what is not normal, in a very specialized environment, and doing that for different environments, different bodies, is what we wanted to do with Darktrace. And it's exactly what our AI algorithms do. They learn a sense of what we call self. They learn a pattern of life for an organization. That means for every user, for every device, for the network as a whole. And it establishes an evolving pattern of life that it understands, and it's always adapting that. As the organization grows, it's understanding what is normal. And because it knows what normal is, It's able to detect deviations from that norm that happen, that evolve, that emerge. And that approach enables us to detect emerging threatening activity that wouldn't be caught by a traditional rule-based approach where you're having to predefine the threat. Whether that's your coffee machine's been hacked or you've got an insider threat, whether that's ransomware or you've got a long-term espionage mission perhaps on your networks, it doesn't matter. It's agnostic to the type of threat. And not only is it able to detect that very anomalous activity, but the critical thing and the most advanced part of the technology today, of the AI, is its ability to actually respond autonomously to those threats as well. So a third of our customers not only use Darktrace to find what they could never find with their traditional tools, but also to take action. If you're hit with a ransomware attack in the middle of the night, and it's going to take 20 seconds to take a number of computers down, you don't have the luxury of time to come into the office the next day. And so that's exactly where Antigena steps in. This is a product that's automatically responding in real time and essentially buying the security team time to catch up. So I'll leave it there.
Thanks, Emily.
And I'll come and join you, Vasile.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I think great presentation. I think we seen as Thales, as when we invested in 2015, in just 3 years, we've seen the company grow from 6 employees when we met first year to 825 employees now, and from 3 customers to 7,000 deployments across the world in 35 cities, offices. So what would you say was the biggest challenge has been so far, and what advice would you give to the founders that are currently in the room?
I think reflecting on the very fast pace of growth, one of the challenges has been around scaling, and there's 2 things there. Number 1 has been culture. I think Darktrace is proud to have a very fast-paced entrepreneurial environment and culture, and that's okay when you know everyone in the office and you all share that vision. But it's a different thing when you start putting offices around the world and you don't know everyone. And so I think that one of our challenges has been making sure we spread that culture and we have the buy-in of our employees wherever they are in the world, that they understand that kind of the DNA, right, apt, of Darktrace's culture and that kind of fast-paced sense of urgency. We like to be moving faster than everyone else. And I think secondly, particularly recently, I think as we hire a lot of people, training is really important for us. Again, it's about making sure that there is a consistent message to the market, and that becomes very difficult when you've got 800 employees. So making sure we took the time out to actually set up a training department, which we've done. We have trainers now all over the world for our internal staff.
No, thank you. Another question we have is that we've seen quite an increase in the security breaches, both on the corporate and the government side. And now we see even the attackers are using AI on their side. So, and people are talking about machine-to-machine cyber attacks. So what you would say we can use AI on the defense side, on the sort of corporate side, and your client side versus attacks, and how this can evolve in the future?
Well, I think you're right to say that there's AI on AI, or I should say we're beginning to see AI on AI. We're beginning to see, let's say, very sophisticated code that is used by attackers and has a level of self-awareness, can self-propagate, and we think that's going to escalate into what might be referred to as an AI attack. So we're at the beginning of that, but in no uncertain terms, it's getting more sophisticated. I think for defenders, the important thing to remember is you own your network. Your advantage is to have a system already that understands everything, and the more it learns, the better it understands. And so the advantage is really should be in the defender's side of the field, because you don't want to be caught unaware by an AI attack in the future. I think that's exactly where we're heading, and we need to be prepared for that. And
through these 3 years, we've seen a lot of new products being developed within Darktrace. So we started with Enterprise Immune System, which is a novel detection. Then you have Antigena, which is autonomous response. We've seen industrial IoT solutions that have been developed. anti-GINA email that has just recently been launched. So there's a lot of things that have been developed, but it's all within the cybersecurity arena. Are there any plans for Darktrace to attack additional verticals? I don't know, like fraud, compliance, any other areas? Is something that you're thinking of?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because artificial intelligence is obviously a very applicable technology, and it's been applied to a specific problem in terms of looking at digital activity in enterprises. But you're right, there's so many use cases, and the answer is yes, we are looking into other applications. I can name a couple. I think risk and compliance is one that we're looking at, helping people understand their overall cyber risk, and actually in the insurance side of that, and enabling people to set premiums if you're offering cyber risk. So we're looking into that. Another area is HR, actually. And we actually already have some HR teams within customers who actually use us, even though we haven't sort of envisaged it in that way, because it gives them really good understanding of how employees are behaving, especially if they have a disciplinary, perhaps, procedure. And the third really interesting area that sort of, in an R&D sense, we're kind of looking into is miniaturizing Darktrace. We know we can actually miniaturize the technology and run it on very small devices. And the home application is quite an interesting area for us as well, that we are looking at to an extent. So it's quite an exciting future, I think, for Darktrace.
Wow. No, thank you much. I know we're running out of time, but I think we're more to see from Darktrace, I'm sure, in the next few years, and good luck with the development.
Thank you, Vasile.